Alright guys, so this is my next video in the series on the trusty S30 value gaming build out, and I was able to transfer it to a new case form. I've had this for a long time now. I needed plenty of Red Bulls for it. But I was able to get his S30 hardware moved over here, which wasn't entirely straightforward. There was a few things that needed to be taken into account. I was able to get all the LEDs hooked up there, but overall, the result was really nice. It's oh, you can see me in the background with my little shirt there. Turned out really nice. It improved the thermals a lot. I was able to fit a full-size heat-seeking fan on it. Go ahead and pop the side panel so I can show you a couple of things I'm talking about. Alright. I think this one actually I can pull from the front. There's no screws on this particular case. Screws have different cases have different designs like that. So there's what we're looking at. So yeah, much better fan. This is a 212 black, I guess is what that is. The rear guard there, I wasn't able to put in the back plate. It just doesn't fit in this particular case. Some motherboards you can hold the guard down by using the retainer screws on like a video or serial port, but not this particular board. So no big deal really, but there are a few things to take into account with this move over because the connections are just different. But the results are really nice here, so it's real quiet. And of course, you got a lot more room in these kind of cases. This particular case, you might be a little challenged to get like a 3090 or something in. Right now, he's got this 970 in there, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, this case, I think I got this on sale. He just wanted something that was more gamer oriented, and it's got the little button that lets you cycle through different LED behaviors. It has a connection for motherboards that have the software control, but of course this Lenovo S30 doesn't have the kind of connection for that, so no big deal really. One of the things I really do like about the S30 motherboards is the 8 RAM slots, and it uses cheap RAM, so you can put all the way up to 256 gigs. But in this one, of course, he's just got 32 gigs of quad channel, and it's quad channel 1866, which I guess is like 3733 DDR4 speed, but this has lower latency. You get CL9, which is really pretty nice. There are, let me get the flashlight on here, some things that you have to take into account with the power supply. Because in the S30, I'll go ahead and show you his old case here. Of course, the power supply in an S30 is mounted at the top. But when you're in pretty much any current case, the power supply is at the bottom. So the length of the cable becomes an issue to get to everything. And the biggest obstacle to that was the 8-pin supplemental, which is at the top of the motherboard. The cable for that was very short from the power supply, so I had to use an extension and run it under the video card right there. There's a little gap where I've got that going, and there's also an additional 4-pin supplemental right there in the center of the frame to the left of that sticker. And that was long enough stock to reach, but depending on your case, like ideally if there was room for it, I would have used an extension for that and then pulled it from behind the motherboard perhaps to make the cable management just a little cleaner, but overall not a big deal. When you do this mod, you also have to make sure that the Front and rear connections are all in place that it needs. It needs a thermal sensor. And the thermal sensor, if you got an S30, you see this little green plug down there? You can unmount that from your old case. That has to be plugged in. It will work without it, but it'll ramp your your fans at 100%, which sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Very effective cooling, not so desirable with noise levels. And then this fan header right there next to the 8-pin, that needs to be connected or it'll give you a fan error on boot. You can hit F2 to skip, but I just added a second old fan that I had left over to this. This came with a fan that I no longer had, but I found the little mounts and I put an LED fan there so it would match the overall theme. So these are all being controlled by a fan control mount that's behind this white bar there. Anyway, it worked out real nice. You got the 2.5 SSD mounts. NVMe on this, you'd have to get a PCI Express adapter to use one of those, but it doesn't really make a difference for games right now. So that's what she looks like completed. And this case is really interesting. It's a Zalman X3, and I like it, but it's just a little odd. The front panel there, that you can pull this out for better airflow, I guess. When you've got the side panels on, the side panels kind of wrap around, covering most of the front, which is a strange decision. Like if I had access to the right tools, I'd probably like shave off the front there so it would have better airflow. Because this big metal flat chunk in there, it's just a strange decision that I'm not super happy with. But the price was right. I think I got this on closeout for like 50 or 60 bucks at Micro Center. And the final thing is, I don't have these, you can tell how long it was sitting on top of my shelf. It's dusty up there. The audio is connected, and the reset, and, the power button and these activity LEDs, power LEDs work fine. The USB 3.0 and 2.0, you will need additional parts to make those work with a standard case, and I'll show you those in a minute. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a second. Alright, I'm back. I had to snap the side panel back on, but yeah, you can see that I mean, it's more than a lot of the glass front cases. This is a mesh front, so it's got more airflow than a glass front case. It flows really well. It remains quiet. It's just a strange looking design. I kind of wish that it was more open. You got these nice LED fans, but you can barely see them. So I've got Horizon Zero Dawn here pulled up, and so with this Xeon, it's a E5 1660 overclocked using the Intel XTU, which I'll show you more of later in the video. It is a really nicely balanced system. I'd say that with this CPU, you could probably go up to about a GTX 1080 Ti, 1080, RTX 2070 to 2080. Maybe the RTX 3060 when that comes out, without really being bottlenecked on either the CPU or the GPU side with typical settings. This is running like ultra on most settings. It's better than like the PS4 performance, so it's nice. And they've got the 1.02 patch, so like the snow footprints and all the missing features that were kind of bugged in the initial release a few weeks ago have been taken care of. It's just a nice running game. So it's just an example of like current AAA title that you don't have to spend $1,000 on a PC to have a really good experience. If you're able to build one of these out, even taking into account the extra cost, if you want it to look pretty, is not that expensive. All right, so let me pause this. I'm going to get out of this game and then show you some more stuff.